Hey, it's Mark Lanier with your video thought for the day. Okay, we are traveling right now. This is traveling week as we travel through paradoxes. So we're looking at various paradoxes in the Bible. And I thought today we might focus not only on a paradox, but I'd like to ask you this question. Why do you think there are paradoxes in the Bible? What is it that causes a paradox to be useful even beyond what it's actually teaching? And in that regard, let's look at first Proverbs 11 verse 24. Now this is a very substantive, meaningful proverb. It says, one gives freely, yet grows all the richer. Now that in itself is a paradox, because you would think that if you're giving away what you've got, that you would not be growing richer, you would be depleting your resources. But the proverb says, one gives freely, yet grows all the richer. And then paradoxically also, the proverb continues, another withholds what he should give and only suffers want. Now, if you think about it for a moment, you would think logic would dictate it would be the exact opposite. Logic would dictate the more you give, the less you have. And yet the proverb's not saying this. Now, the proverb, yes, includes the idea of money and resources like that, but it includes more than that. It's also talking about you and me as a person. So as a person, the more that we give of ourselves, the more that we give of our time and attention, the more we're going to find that we are actually growing in what we have and what we've got to give. It's a principle where God wants us to give, because the ones who are able to give, he sees as people who are more able to be good with resources, and so he's going to give those resources to us. This, by the way, was seized upon by John Bunyan. If you ever read his book, Pilgrim's Progress, in that book, John Bunyan says, a man there was, actually this is Honest who's talking in the book. Honest was the name of the guy. A man there was who, though some did count him mad, the more he cast away, the more he had. In other words, the more this guy that everybody thought was mad would give away, the more he'd get. Now, I want to not just leave us with that paradox, but I want to ask, what other paradox is there that helps us understand why these paradoxes are in the Bible? Because they're not just happening. They're there on purpose. So another one that I think is there is Proverbs 26 verses 4 and 5. And by there, I mean instructive. Here are two proverbs, one right next to the other, that say almost the exact opposite thing. So Proverb 26 verse 4 says, don't answer a fool according to his folly, lest you be like him yourself. And then the very next verse says, to answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own eyes. I can remember reading this as a young man thinking, what on earth? How do you have two opposites right next to each other? And the best I could come up with was the proverbs that say, don't answer a fool because you'll just make you look like a fool, or answer a fool or he won't seem to be a fool. The bottom line to me was just, don't mess with a fool. You'll get nowhere. That may be part of it, but I think even more than that, it tells us that proverbs and paradoxes are in the Bible to make us think. When we think, we grow. We want to grow in wisdom. We want a life that's deliberate. We want a life where we think through things. And so paradoxes help us in that regard. Now, yesterday I closed the day on paradoxes with a quote from a song from Eminem. I thought today I might quote from a little, maybe more holy source. And so I'll give you a paradox that you can think about the next time you sing Amazing Grace by John Newton. Remember the line in there? 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. It's a paradox. Grace taught me to fear, but it also brought relief from fear. More paradoxes tomorrow, but this is enough for today. So I'll end here with this, your video thought for the day.